All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back here this Monday, May 10th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. I believe I'm good to go across the board. Hopefully not too loud and too clear like Ken wrote, but great to see Ken, Alex, Leda, Bobby, Lori, who had a phenomenal morning herself, Michael, Deborah, Norman, all of our students live inside the trading room, and for all of us on social media, welcome on back, that being Facebook Live and YouTube. Actually, to begin, for all of us on social media, I'll make a kind of a double-ended announcement during this meeting, one at the top of the meeting, one at the end, same announcement. But keep in mind, for all of us that were tuning into this afternoon meeting from last week, I made the announcement last week for tomorrow. Tomorrow, we are conducting a special workshop, a special Q&A workshop, which we always host live inside our Cyber Group trading room, which we will continue to host inside the Cyber Group room. Don't worry for anyone there. It's a simulcast, our Traders Talk workshop. We'll be hosting it on our YouTube channel. We typically do it maybe twice or three times across the entire calendar year. So if you'd like to join for all of us on social media, make sure that you go right to the link on the banner below, that just being youtube.com/cybertradingu for tomorrow's workshop. And if you have any questions that you would like to submit, questions yourself about trades that you may have seen us talk about or call out, or trades that you may have taken yourself, well, send over a question right to my email address personally. My email address is josh@c2trading.com. And just title your email Traders Talk. For all of our students like Gene and William and Michael and Skip inside the trading room, you folks know already, what's going on for tomorrow. So that'll be the same time, same place for you folks live inside Cyber Group. And again, we'll just kind of wrap up this meeting with that same announcement. So with that in mind, let's just go from top to bottom. Actually, to begin, two things, actually. Number one, for most of us that are coming into this meeting, you should know we are on a free fall here on the SPY, the S&P 500 ETF. We just saw this breakdown below critical support right off of 421. And as soon as it broke that, right before we started this meeting, just about a 1.5 point drop so far already, returning back to Friday's high, or Friday's open, I should say. So we'll come back to the market, see if there's some good shorts to work with going into the afternoon. Just because we have a falling market doesn't mean that we can't make money. And that goes for both, just shorting and then vice versa. Just because we're in a falling market doesn't mean that everything's going to drop. We'll try and find just opportunities both ways. The OCGN, this has been squeezing up really nicely going into the day today. And, here right now, it's trying to make a second break back above, or not second, but, another break back above 10 to see this make the real push that we would have hoped for earlier. This ended up actually breaking above 10 once before here, and I thought it was going to pop and drop. I didn't take this trade off of 10. I ended up missing just about 30 cents, ended up popping up to a high of 10.29, pulled back down, but it goes to show why you can't catch the falling knife on the way back down. So ended up losing its momentum, fell off for quite a bit, held generally over like 970, 975-ish perhaps. And yeah, for right now, making a higher low off 980, blasting back over 10, hopefully a lot more buying off this run. And so far, so good. Nice push. I mean, already up 12 cents from that level. I'm sure that you're going to get some shakearounds on this trade. It's been pretty choppy from the last week and a half. And, today ended up providing opportunity both ways. Dropped off at first, popped back up afterwards, ended up dropping back down from that point. And here we are now. So, to begin, OCGN, I'll just put this on our watch list. I don't know if it'll be at the top, at the bottom by the end of it all. But what we'll do is just rip it from top to bottom here, folks. Go across the gainers list right now. You got the PTIX. I know that Rich was commenting on the pop, the run up just before. It looked good. And then out of nowhere, just like that, ended up just, falling flat, ended up kind of teasing this pop over $4.20, came right back down below 4. Same thing with this as it was on the OCGN. You can't catch a falling knife. So in the sense of the breakout over 4, that led to a nice little move, but man, an unexpected shake and getting filled on the way down. It's so to say, you're going against the momentum, catching a falling knife. If anyone's ever swam upstream before, it's pretty difficult. So same to be said here. So yeah, for the meantime, this PTIX trade, it ended up making for a really good trade after the market opened, got halted on the way up, ended up pushing up higher later on, but for right now, it's like garbage. All right, I'll keep it going here. OBLN ended up making a nice sneaky move, not OCGN, OBLN. I've been getting those two mixed up, just my trader's dyslexia today. Ended up making a nice pop, pretty much same move as PTIX. Ended up making this accelerated run up after the market opened from 240 up to 4. Ended up coming back down. CUE, I don't know what the news is on this stock, but it says it right in the name. biopharma. So, I don't know if it's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, but ended up making a nice squeeze. Took a while to get the gears going, but it ended up making the breakout higher from 1450 later on. And as of right now, I guess it's sneaking it back above 1450 as we speak, maybe trying to make the same sneak move back up as OCGN here. For right now, I think that this just doesn't really have too filled in of an order book for me to like really be super interested in it. It's making a nice bounce, you could say, now from like, the low here, 1420-ish, we'll call it, pushing up. Maybe I'll come back to it at the end. See if there's anything looking better, though, in terms of the order book. Something that's maybe stronger to its highs. LEDS is definitely not that. PTE level 1 trade from earlier today. A nice little slingshot move from like 118. Once it broke back above 120, that was it. But, again, same thing. Volume fell flat after it hit its high, and it's not just going to consolidate in a tiny range. It's going to come right back down if it fails to break higher. So you got to be careful with that. TGLS, just not a whole lot happening there. I'll tell you, for a Monday, going into the day today, I mean, even before Fausto started the morning broadcast at 9 a.m. Eastern, I was on my own end here, and I'm just like, it's a Monday, not a whole lot really happening. I wouldn't have been disappointed just by not trading at all. I'll tell you, it was a pretty good morning. It was actually a pretty decent market open for myself between the OCGN. We ended up catching ALF, ended up catching, what else did we get? Oh, the VTRS as well. I forgot about that. We'll go to that in a second. But the PRPO, man, I mean, just this is the perfect example of just seeing the momentum die off on the way up. And once it dies off on the way up, it's not to say the momentum completely dies off. It's that the selling momentum increases, and then people start taking profits, much like we saw back from Friday. We ended up seeing this make, not Friday, I'm sorry. From last week, I got to switch this daily chart. Tripping me up. From last week, you could see the same thing, though. It ended up making a solid run, closed at the highs, did good, but although it pushed up higher the next morning, look what happened the following afternoon, perhaps. Ended up dumping all the way back down, closed lower than it had even opened up, and dumped back down. So it's the second win type of move here, but the dump off here is like really not surprising at all. Very well expected, to be honest there. Unless if you could short it, I'd move on. Party City, man, how about this today? Talking about right near its highs. It's about 15 cents off perhaps, or 20 cents off. But, heading into the final 45 minutes or hour, at least from this point forward, this could be a really nice trade. Building a support right now seemingly off the chart, right off 940. Not really a big iceberg order on the bid sitting there. You see an order on the ask, not really too big, but the biggest 10,000 shares at 955. So that should be treated as resistance for right now. Definitely don't mind putting Party City on our main list here. Familiar with that stock off of news or off of earnings. All right, so we'll get to BTU here. This one ended up making a really good move after the market opened. Essentially popped right out the gate. We kind of caught it a bit later on, expectedly. So, it ran all the way up to 550, started to, or 560 rather, and consolidated. Held above that as support, squeezed up higher. But more so going into the early to mid-afternoon, we ended up seeing this hold a higher low and run back over 6. So a couple of us jump in and out for about 10, 12 cents on the way up. It's not normally the best time of the day to be trading here prior to the meeting starting here, but you'll take it, right? You'll take what the stock can give you. So, it ended up topping off at a high of like 627. It's pulled back down, so it's not as strong to its highs perhaps, but the stock is shortable. So if it craps out the other way, in that case, should that happen, then that could be a pretty interesting opportunity. Either way, though, we'll look to just, follow this for right now. All right, let's see what else we got. DTSS here, pre-market pick. Eesh, just dud right after the market opened. And yeah, afterwards, not a whole lot happening. This ALF trade was pretty interesting, but it took a while to get going. The setup was off of 4 and 390 really here. Going into the open, the stock was dropping off its highs at the time. So going with the momentum, it's not surprising to see this pop and drop right out the gate. But I was watching this for a bounce. I was fortunate to catch it practically right off of 4 and 390 here. I had to average down, but ended up catching the squeeze. For what it's worth, on double position, it was a good trade, but at this point now, it's not really making any sort of good move up or down for us. Maybe keep it on your side list for this week. It's only Monday, so maybe by Wednesday, Thursday this week, it can make a move. Oh, Coinbase. I'm not normally following a stock this expensive anyway, so I didn't really see this at all up until right now. I'll bring up my Bitcoin chart just by the end of this meeting. I'll be sure to get to that. Sometimes I go off on a tangent, kind of fail to bring that up, but I will by the end of it. The 10 stock here from earlier this morning. Not really much going on now. All right, VTRS. This was a nice push from earlier today. It was earnings based. I mean, we're not really too familiar with this company, so it was not on anyone's radar in terms of like earnings to be coming out today. But it's the type of move, at least here after the market open, it kind of held support off of 1480, popped back up from there and ran. So it was a nice little trade from earlier today. Maybe keep it in mind for the remainder of this week, so long as it's shortable. Ken's calling out the short on VTRS alongside that Mara. I mean, they're not related, but he's calling that out inside the trading room. Yeah, I mean, this is rounding off right now. If you're in from like 1530 or higher, it's a good price. Yeah, I mean, I would just kind of keep it on your back radar there. Keep it on like your side list. All right, so we got OCGN already here, number 35 in the gainers. Then let's hop over to the losers list with the market dropping off. Seemingly enough, you'd like to expect for there to be more on that side, perhaps. REKR, Wrecker Systems. It's getting wrecked, that's for sure. This thing is getting crushed. It's on the way down to 13, down over 30+% across the day. I do not know what is happening, and that was my pun of the day, by the way. Let's see what else we got for news here on this REKR trade. Looks like just earnings as well on this one. Hey, again, the same thing with this as I said before on the VTRS. It's the type of move that we don't normally trade this stock, but off of earnings, seeing this down over 30%, you'll just remember it for the next earnings report. Just keep it in mind. For right now, at least, yeah, it's off the lows. Bit of a spread, but it's off the lows and shortable. So, yeah, I'll give this a look. The REKR trade. Ken says low volume. Yeah, per minute, I would agree. Thin volume on the order book too, but I like where this is at near the lows, much like I would say the same with a stock near its highs. And this is shortable. If it wasn't, then I probably wouldn't have been as keen to edit. But VFF, same thing. This one's trading more volume per minute. You could say that just based on the volume traded prior to 2 o'clock and afterwards, but that could be a bit of an inflated number at times. But either way, this one has a tight spread, has really good liquidity on the order book. Village Farms, I'm guessing earnings on that too. I don't really care to look, to be honest with you. Just want to finish this meeting up kind of soon so we could all get started trading going into the afternoon. But for right now, at least, it's near the lows. Same reason I put this on the list as I would the REKR. And you could say the same with MNG or MGNI here too. Magnite Inc. ended up dropping off here throughout the day today. It's at the lows, obviously. Not a 52-week low. Looks like it came down to past peak point here, right around 33. That was back from like last week even. Ended up breaking below there today. It's like kind of in that consolidation. I guess I'll put this on our list too. This one's a little bit more expensive. So if we're comparing this to the REKR, I mean, both have similar type of order book, but one's double the price compared to the other. So, I'll slip this on our list if you're interested. Again, the same reason as I would put this on the list as VFF as I would REKR. Now we're getting a little too pricey. This is near the low of the day, so I like that, but $47 stock, bigger, spread, thinner volume on the book, even compared to the last one. Got to draw a line somewhere. All right, so let's see what else we got here across the losers end. CLSK, I think Clean Spark. Yep. Familiar name, at least. We're pretty familiar with this stock as it ran up going into the end of last year. Ended up like shaking around like no other afterwards there. Like down and spiking up this day, then right back down. This thing's been a mess since, but on the way down right now, I mean, hey, again, I'll put this on our list too, right? Not a whole lot of volume filled off the 1650 level, at least compared to what was filled off of 1660-ish, 1662 here. I just say that based on the TradeStation Matrix volume bars to the right side of my screen. So maybe keep that in mind as like a potential top here in the meantime. All right, so folks, I think that just about does it from my end. I'm going to check out YouTube, Facebook Live, and alongside them, all of us live inside the Cyber Group room. Let me know if there's anything else up, down, left, right, more than like 5% that you would want me to look at. Ken talking about the Mara trade, which I'll bring up my Bitcoin chart now at this point. Hey, this looks like a screaming short, but it looked like a screaming short back on Friday, at least at this time. And it looked like a screaming short back on Thursday at this time. So again, for anyone new here, I'll explain, but for anyone that's been watching me here in the meeting, to see a stock like Mara or Riot at the low of the day, down around that 8, 9, 10+%, there's a pretty damn good chance at this stage now we're going to get a dead cat bounce based on past history. The things that will affect that will be a sinking market, like we're still seeing here on the S&P, the SPY. So this might be a stronger day to see conviction on the way down with that in mind. But otherwise, I'll bring up my Bitcoin chart. I got a minute chart here. Let's go to the hourly. I don't have all my fancy moving averages up. This is actually like a reset. I'll get that up for tomorrow. But this is an hourly chart for Bitcoin. You could see practically across the last 3 hours, 4 or 5 hours, really, sans the squeeze up that we had here. It's just gone down since. So, with the falling market, obviously we're going to see Bitcoin drop off with it. We haven't really seen Bitcoin completely run against the grain when the markets have been dropping off. So it wouldn't shock me to see this drop off a little bit more should we see the markets fall off going into the after hours and into the evening with the futures. But with that in mind, we'll kind of see where Riot and Mara, I think Mara more so, land heading into the afternoon. I'll put Mara on the main list, Ken. I'm looking more for the dead cat bounce, but if you end up getting the short, then, hey, I'll follow that too. Big support on the bid off of 28. Ken says up 29 cents, holding overnight. All right, there you go. All right, so maybe on a swing basis, we'll see continuation on the way down. Just be pretty mindful for a dead cat bounce for the next hour, and then just otherwise watch 28. All right, so what else we got here from Mike? He's saying Jessica Alba's company down again today, an IPO from last week. Jessica Alba, the actress, very good actress. Getting all of these celebrities, actresses into like the tech stocks and all of these new IPOs or all of the new SPACs, the special purpose acquisition companies. So that's interesting. Yeah, it took a huge hit today, it looks like, once again. Not really too interested in day trading as much, but maybe at some point you'll get catch a dead cat bounce on it. All right, so folks, I don't see much else across social media ends. I believe I'm good to go there. So, yeah, I got all the inverse ETFs on the way up right now at the market falling off here. So maybe we'll take a look at like the airlines, the cruise lines, those quote unquote side list stocks that we've had across the last year and a half now at this point since the pandemic started. So we'll check out like the airlines like AAL. We'll check out a cruise line like NCLH falling back down a bit. Not really a whole lot to write home about on these stocks, at least just yet. Neo broke down below 35. That was from earlier going into the afternoon. Yeah, not really too much that I'm seeing from our side list stocks that like have great trends or anything that looks that sharp. That's fine. I'll take it. So far, we have a decent list, more so on the way up to begin, between OCGN, between the party trade, BTU, don't forget about that, and then perhaps Mara, should we get that hold off 28 and the squeeze back up there. All right, then aside from that, if there's anything else that we look to call out, trade, scan for going into the next hour and 12 minutes and counting from this point forward, we'll look to call it out live inside the Cyber Group room. For all of us on social media, once again, to finish up this meeting, make sure that you folks stay tuned for tomorrow's workshop. Tomorrow we'll be doing a special live workshop on YouTube. Go right to youtube.com/cybertradingu. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit the notification icon just to know when we're starting that workshop. That'll be sometime in the morning. If you have any questions that you would like to submit for us to talk about inside our Traders Talk workshop for tomorrow, again, make sure that you email myself, josh@c2trading.com, and just title your email Traders Talk there. It'll be very easy for me to just fish through my inbox, just see, and we'll be able to answer everything coming up tomorrow morning. All right, for all of us live inside the trading room, just stay tuned. I know that Rich will jump on the mic in just about 10 minutes. I'll rejoin him going into the final 30, taking us into the market close. Talk to you then. Take care.